The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Any health advice given, whether general, diet, physical or spiritual, is general only and must be verified by your doctor. If you need medical advice, please consult a doctor.
Assalamu alaikum to all listeners and viewers. Welcome to the Health and Fitness Show. I'm your host for today, Suliman Rafiq, and this show is broadcasting live from the studios of Inspire FM today on Thursday, the 9th of May at 6 p.m, reaching listeners in Luton and surrounding areas, as well as via the Inspire FM website. As this is our first show in Ramadan, let me take the opportunity to wish everyone a Ramadan Mubarak. If you are listening to this show on Sunday or any other Thursday, then it is a repeat. If you prefer to watch as well as listen, you can view us on Facebook. All you have to do is go to the Inspire FM Facebook page and click on our live link. So, as you will know, we cover different health-related topics each week, and today we will be covering long-term conditions, with a focus in the first half on stroke, and in the second half we will be focusing more on cancer. So, this is a live show, and the reason we do it live is to allow you to get in touch, and you can do this by text or WhatsApp on 0777 0777 948 1822. That number again, 0777 948 1822. I'm delighted to say we've got 4 guests in the studio who've given up their time to be with us. We really appreciate that, so thank you. Before I introduce our guests and go into detail on the topic, just a bit of a reflection on the last few weeks. We spent quite a bit of time in relation to preparing for Ramadan and ensuring that we're having the healthiest Ramadan we can. And we had colleagues from Total Wellbeing who were talking to us about the importance of having plenty of fruit and vegetables, and particularly trying to drink as much water as you can to stay hydrated. So why not let us know how you're getting on with that? Have you been able to avoid some of the salty fried food that is often had during this time, or have you been quite good in that sense? Let us know by text or WhatsApp on 0777 948 1822. So let's get on with today's show, and particularly I'd like to introduce my good friend, my old friend and friend of the community, Kishore. Kishore, could you introduce yourself, your role and a bit about your organisation?
Hello, I'm Kishore Kailar and I work as a stroke sport coordinator for Stroke Association. And Stroke Association provides specialist support for the stroke survivor. We fund critical research and campaign to make sure people affected by stroke get the very best care to rebuild their lives. And we got an office here in Luton at Tomlinson Avenue in the intermediate care home. And as a stroke association sport coordinator, we do a lot of different things. We help to focus on health promotion and stroke prevention, working directly with the members of the public, share health promotion messages and raise awareness of stroke, including how to prevent a stroke and the effects of stroke. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for giving up your time.
And also, we do May Purple Month. And in this month, we promote the awareness of the stroke. And also, we do a Step Out for Stroke. And this year, it's arranged in Warden Park at 7th of July. And I urge my Asian friends, please come and show your colored faces. Tell the rest of the people that we are here. And a couple of years ago, we had a very good response from the Luton community, and we raised a lot of money for the Stroke Association. So I request all the listeners, please do come and support the Stroke Association on 7th of July at Warden Park, about 11 to 12 in the morning, yeah?
Fantastic.
No, sorry, change now due to your walk there, and come there about 1:30. Okay?
1:30, yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Yeah.
much easier, I think.
Yeah.
7th of July,
Yeah.
1:30. That sounds great. Natalie, could you just introduce yourself and your role?
Of course I can. Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm the Senior Health Specialist for the Long-Term Conditions Programme in the Total Wellbeing Service. I specialise in stroke rehabilitation, also respiratory conditions, and also chronic pain management. We deliver anything from group sessions to one-to-one sessions, depending on what the participants' needs are and what support that they will need. And make sure they improve a bit of quality of life, really, through our training.
Great, fantastic. And Sarah?
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm the Health Specialist Manager for Long-Term Conditions at Total Wellbeing. In case you don't know what Total Wellbeing is, we are the first integrated service of the UK, supporting people's physical and emotional and social needs. Through programmes such as social prescription, exercise and referral, our long-term condition programmes, we offer free health checks. And as part of our long-term condition programmes, the conditions we work with are cardiac, respiratory, MS, dementia, mental health, cancer, which we'll be talking to a little bit later, and also obviously stroke.
Great. So there's not much you don't cover.
No, we're helping everyone.
We're helping everyone. If you need help in relation to your health, contact
to
Total
us.
Wellbeing. Absolutely. And finally, David.
Salam alaikum. Kaif al-hal to you all. I hope you're having a good Ramadan. My name is David Foster. I'm 71, a retired person, and I attend one of the many programmes that are run by Macmillan and Active Luton. And I will tell you more about that later. Thank
Fantastic. Look forward to hearing more about that. We'll look forward to hearing more about that. So, Kishore, you mentioned in relation to the Stroke Association, and I believe this is Make May Purple Month. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
This is a month we do ask our supporters to wear purple color T-shirts and raise awareness in their groups, in their communities, and raise money for the Stroke Association. And that's May Purple.
Great.
That's the idea, yeah.
Yeah.
And raise awareness in the communities about the stroke.
Great. And Sarah, I think there's an event plan coming up at the end of the month. Is that right?
There is. I shall let Natalie tell you a little bit about
go
that.
for it.
So yes, in aid, like Kishore said, in aid of Stroke Awareness Month, we will be holding on Tuesday the 28th our Stroke Awareness event up at our Inspire Centre in Stopsley. We'll be having a mixture of different services from the community coming over, giving some talks about what the organisation can offer and support stroke survivors, and also we can have a bit of activities and mini games and challenges. So it's hopefully going to be quite a good turnout and event. And again, if any of you know anybody who suffered a stroke or would benefit from coming to our event, the more the welcome. So please, 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 guys, come along if you can. That'd be fantastic.
Great. So just remind us again the day and the time.
On Tuesday the 28th at 1 till 4:30 up at Inspire up at Stopsley.
Fantastic. It sounds great. So, as I say, listeners, this is your show. We do it live for a reason, and that's so you can get in touch. So why not do that? And you can do so by calling or text or WhatsApp us on 0777 948 1822. That number again, 0777 948 1822. So, Kishore, can you just explain in really simple terms what exactly is a stroke?
Stroke is just like a brain attack. It happens when the blood supply to part of your brain cuts off. someone in the UK has stroke every 5 minutes, and it's fourth biggest killer and the leading cause of disability.
Okay. And how common is it in the UK?
It's very common, and it's very common in South Asian people. And even if the white people, we get more than 10 years before them the stroke. If the white person is 70 years, even in 50 to 60 years in South Asian people, we do get the stroke. Yeah.
Right, so it's much higher frequency.
Yeah, very much higher.
And a lot of people might have heard around the Act Fast concept, and I know there was a lot of like TV adverts a few years ago. Can you just remind people what you mean when you say Act Fast?
Fast is the fast test help you spot the signs of stroke. For F stand for face. Can the person smile? Has their face fallen on one side? A stand for arm. Can the person raise both arms and keep them there? And S stand for speech. Speech problem. Can the person speak clearly and understood what you say? Is there a speech slurred? And T time. As soon as you see those signs, please ring the 999 and tell the symptoms, and then you get a special ambulance which take you to the straightforward to the stroke treatment. It starts from as soon as the symptoms are picked up, they start treating from there onward. Yeah.
That's really
yeah.
You're gonna have a guy trying to translate that for us?
हाँ ये हिंदी में बात यह है कि हमारे लोगों को ये पता नहीं है जब फेस किसी का जैसे बोलते हैं कि टेढ़ा हो गया उल्टा हो गया थोड़ा टिल्ट जाए तो वो ख्याल रखना चाहिए और जब कोई बात करता है तो बात क्लियर नहीं आ रही वो थथला रहा है तो दैट्स द सेकंड साइन और जो आर्म है जो उनकी जो बाजू है वो नहीं उठा सकते ऊपर तो दैट्स द टेस्ट एज वेल सो ऐसो जब भी ये साइन मिले तो 999 डाल करो तो ये बताओ एम्बुलेंस वालों को तो स्पेशल एम्बुलेंस आती है तो वो तभी से उनका ट्रीटमेंट जो है वो शुरू हो जाता है वो उसको ट्रीटमेंट देना शुरू कर देते हैं घर से जब उठाते हैं तो स्पेशल वार्ड है स्ट्रोक L&D में वहाँ जो लेकर जाते हैं
Fantastic. Your Hindi is much better than my Urdu. I understood it though, which is good. So
I tell you, Suliman, sometimes we go to Bengali families, Pahari families, Pakistani families, Punjabi families, Gujarati families, we all understand.
Yes.
We got some sort of sign language, some sort of words, and we can convey ourselves to each other.
Fantastic. I really appreciate you doing that. I put you on the spot there, but it was hopefully helpful. Just coming on to the total wellbeing, guys, can you just explain a little bit about how does your service help someone after they've had a stroke?
Yeah, sure. So most stroke survivors would have gone through a form of physio treatment either at the hospital or home-based. And we're that sort of integration, sort of transition phase from where they've completed their physio treatment from the hospital and then integrating them into the community services. Such as in our gym, for an example. Obviously, there's many benefits through exercise. We try to obviously enable them to get more independence and ability. This then also leading them to basically getting more of their life back through our service.
Great. And if you had any particular case studies that you'd like to kind of touch on that you've seen?
Well, I was going to say that we've had so many fantastic outcomes. It's kind of hard to choose one. We have had one chap who's been with us for about 4 years now, and he's now got to the point where he doesn't have to use his wheelchair or any walking aids. He's also now got to the point where he's near enough got that complete mobility back with the odd restriction, but he's also now able to play more with his grandkids, and he's able to get out and shop more, and his moods are a lot better as well. He's not as lethargic, not as low, so he's come a long way.
And very few people can go back to the original state of health where they were, but some can recover to very good extent.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they can near enough live a good life, what they were used to, but not 100%.
Sure.
No.
There is always some sort of sign
Definitely.
or something.
Yeah. And we're just there just to help enhance that ability.
Yeah. And in order to aid that recovery, some of the exercises and things that you support with aid that extra recovery in comparison to someone that wouldn't do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. So how would someone who's had a stroke then, if someone's listening or has a family member that's had a stroke, what's the best way of engaging with the service?
They can get in touch with our total wellbeing service either through our website or email, which is the total wellbeing, luton.org. The telephone number is 0300 555 4152. This can be a self-referral. Someone can refer on behalf of them, or it can be from any hospital services. Anyone who's previously had a stroke, going through recovery at the moment, any stage, we accept any referrals on our programme.
Fantastic. So you don't have to be referred by a health professional. You can self-refer if you
feel you need to. Yep. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you had it 50 years ago or you had it few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, anyone who's unfortunately experienced a stroke is welcome onto our programme.
So that's quite interesting that even if someone's had it quite a while ago, it's still worth getting in touch.
Most definitely, yes. Because of, like Kishore said, unfortunately, because everyone is unique, everyone will only build up to a certain level of recovery.
Yeah.
And long-term wise, as we all know, the benefits of long-term benefits of exercise, everybody can benefit.
It's also really important to stay active after you've had a stroke, so to prevent having another one as well. So kind of preventing reoccurrence is really important. So leading a healthy lifestyle and staying active really helps reduce the risk of that.
Okay. And just asking Kishore in terms of, obviously prevention is better than cure. And so you mentioned earlier around how particularly this 10-year earlier kind of statistic. Can strokes be prevented?
Yeah, it is preventable. It can be prevented. There are two key things you can do are to regularly get checked your blood pressure and atrial fibrillation. And both high blood pressure and AF are conditions that can easily go undetected. So you can have them and not be aware. The tests are quick and painless, and you can either look at our website stroke.org.uk or try to go to your GP. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something that those are the main kind of things you should keep an eye on.
Yeah, high blood pressure and the AF. And also, you should avoid not too much salt. Salt causes blood pressure as well.
Yeah.
So salt should be controlled as well.
And that's something we have...
Yes, it is very common.
That's something we have difficulty
I can give you a very good example.
Please do.
4 or 5 years ago, I went to see a lady who had a stroke. She was lying on a bed and she called somebody. From the other room, a girl came with some pot and glass of water. And when I was talking to her son, and she gave her something, and she had in her mouth and drank a glass of water. And the girl went back. After another 10 minutes, she coughed again, and she called the girl came again. And I couldn't resist to ask. I said, can you tell me, what is that you giving? She said, it's salt.
Right.
She was used to take pinch of salt and on your tongue and drink with I said, that's the reason she had a stroke, because she was so slim, thin, lying in the bed. And the guy, the son of the woman who I was talking to, he said, I've been telling my family, but nobody listens to me. I'm the only one who tell them these things, and they don't listen, and they don't like me. And it's a true story. I still got the face of that woman in front of me.
Yeah.
She was slim like anything, but she was taking salt, just like that. A handful, like finger, drink water, and that's it.
Yeah.
So salt is the...
So reducing salt in the foods that we're having,
yes,
is one of the other ways that we can reduce the risk of strokes.
Yes, and your weight, and keep active. That's why the active look. We should just get out, go for walks, and make this a daily routine. That don't find excuses not to do anything, but find excuses to do little walks and go to the garden, wherever you try to do some walks. Don't wait for cars and lift. That's
especially now the weather's getting better. So
even if the weather is a bit dull, but make sure. Make sure, go for
Kishore's hardcore, man.
And also now Ramadan is there.
Yes.
And people will be saying, "Oh, I'm starving, fasting."
Yeah.
But when come the evening time, then look how much you eat.
Yeah.
So it's better to eat sensibly.
Yeah.
Very sensibly.
Yeah.
And avoid the fried food, the pakode and the samosas and things, and go for small portion, which is a healthy portion.
Yeah.
Fruit and salads and things like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's good advice there. And can I just ask, in terms of, are there any other kind of high risk groups? You mentioned South Asians being at high risk.
Yes, South Asians are already at the high risk. And some South Asian background may be more likely to carry weight around their waist.
Right.
And smoke and not get enough exercise. So which can all increase the chances of developing medical condition linked to stroke, such as high blood pressure and heart disease. And there may be a generic link that makes people in this ethnic group more likely to have a stroke. So it's important to understand your own risk factors as well. So that's the main region for us.
Correct.
Generic as well in the South Asian people. I think it's where the districts we are born back home, and some districts are more higher at risk compared to the other areas.
And can I ask Sarah, Natalie, just in relation to, through the work that you've done, what kind of effects on a person is there after having a stroke?
Oh, many. For example, employment. Depending on the severity of your stroke, we've had some stroke survivors who've been able to get slowly back into work, taking certain steps to getting back in bit by bit, and exercise helped them get to that point. Again, there are many other things that can be affected, like your daily life. Obviously, you might not have the ability to wash, clean yourself and so forth. And these are the type of services we want to bring to my stroke event, should we say, so our stroke event on the Tuesday the 28th. So people who have suffered strokes can access things like these, because there are many things that are affected after having stroke, even with family and friends. We find can be quite a bit of, there's a lot of survivors who find that they're a bit of a burden to their family and friends, and there's a lot of emotional effects as well from having stroke. So
Absolutely.
And also, we have a working a stroke group. We meet every third Friday of the month. There come some people who had stroke, and they are a bit clever, and they are still managing their business, although there's some disability, but still they are doing their businesses as usual and try to keep control and earning their lives in that group. There's some very clever people.
Yeah.
They are managing the effects of the stroke.
Sure.
Definitely.
And I think it's like we were saying earlier, we're quite fortunate here in Luton and England generally in terms of the amount of services that are available to people. And it's just about accessing that through the different means that are available. Kishore, I think people have appreciated, I've seen some messages here, people have appreciated your Hindi. So can you just touch on in terms of, we have 50 seconds until the ad break, just in regards to how can stroke be prevented, just very quickly.
सॉल्ट कम खाओ, रेड मीट भी कम खाओ, अपने वेट पे कंट्रोल करो, एक्सरसाइज पे जाओ, तो ये सब कुछ हो सकता है. Keep and think before you eat, okay, and also don't keep eating. पहले burn your calorie, okay, calorie burn करो, फिर food को अर्न करो.
There you go. Okay. Kishore, we need you on every week, man.
I can come every
we need you on every week. We've only got 20 seconds to
people who want to talk to me, they can come to Blended Medical Center as well. We do exercise there.
You go.
Or any mosque or anybody who want to do exercise group, they can get in touch with me.
Fantastic.
And we can start a group.
Appreciate that. We're going to be back after this very short advert break.
Yeah.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all our listeners and viewers. Welcome back to the Health and Fitness Show. I am your host, Suliman Rafiq, and for the first half of today's show, we've been discussing stroke, and for the second half of today's show, we will be focusing on other long-term conditions and particularly focusing in on cancer. So just to remind everyone, this program is broadcasting live today on Thursday, the 9th of May from the studios of Inspire FM. For anyone listening that missed the first half of the show, I'm just going to ask our guests to reintroduce themselves. David, can I start with you?
Yeah, sure. I'm David Foster, 71 years old, and one of the participants in the exercise programs that are run by Macmillan Active Luton.
Thank you.
I'm Sarah. I'm the Health Specialist Manager for Total Wellbeing, and I work with a team working with long-term conditions.
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm part of the long-term conditions team under Sarah, and I specialise in stroke rehab, respiratory and chronic pain management.
And I'm Kishore Kaler from Stroke Association in Luton, and you can always ring our helpline for the stroke, which is 0303 30 33 0 100.
Fantastic. Thank you very much all for giving up your time this evening to be with us. The reason we do this show live is to allow people to engage. So why not do that? And you can do that by calling us on 01582 481 822. Otherwise, you can you can text or WhatsApp us on 0777 948 1822. That number again, 0777 948 1822. So we're moving on now to talk about long-term conditions, and Sarah, can you just touch on exactly what is a long-term condition?
Yeah, sure. A long-term condition is usually a chronic health problem that requires ongoing support either by a health specialist or medication. Some of the time it's not curable, but it is treatable through these sort of services, so ongoing help and support over a period of months or even years.
Great. And can you just give us some examples of those?
So some examples that we work with people that have been diagnosed with cancer, both curative and palliative. We work with stroke patients, as we've touched on today. We also work with people with mental health diagnosis, such as anxiety, stress, depression, PTSD, things like that. We also work with respiratory, so chronic asthma, COPD, bronchitis, and then we also work with sort of neurological conditions like MS, Parkinson's, other conditions such as those. And we offer sort of one-to-one support at any of our active Luton centres with our specialist team. So we offer 12 weeks support. And we also offer our own health class timetable as well for just for people with long-term conditions.
Fantastic. And you mentioned in terms of like the power of exercise. I mean, obviously that's quite a wide range of different conditions. Can you just touch on exactly why exercise is so helpful in relation to some of those clinical conditions?
Yeah, so exercise can, when you've been diagnosed with a condition, you might feel a little bit sort of helpless or kind of, what do I do now? So exercise is something that you can do for yourself and kind of take back control of your life after a diagnosis. So it gives you the best possible quality of life depending on your current situation. It's not just excellent for your physical health, it's obviously really good for your emotional and social health as well. You get out there, you meet new people that are going through the similar things to your similar situation as yourself. And it can also, for your emotional health, it promotes all kinds of changes in the brain, including neural growth, reduced inflammation, and new activity patterns that promote feelings of calm and well-being through the release of endorphins, which is our feel-good chemicals. In terms of long-term conditions, it actually helps reduce the rate of disease. So, for example, our respiratory conditions, it really helps slow down the rate of disease through exercising and keeping fit and having an active sort of lifestyle. And it also helps prevent reoccurrence as well. So it's really, really important to sort of stay as active as you can.
Fantastic. And how can people with some of the conditions you've mentioned engage with total wellbeing?
So we have got our own website address, so that's totalwellbeingluton.org. So you can self-refer onto that. Just log onto the website, and then there's a really easy step-by-step process that you can self-refer yourself on there. We also have really great partnerships and relationships with the hospital and GPs. So if you're interested in any of our programs, pop along to your GP or your nurse if you're under any primary care, and they'll happily refer you to our services as well.
Great. And so I want to kind of home in now on a particular long-term condition, namely cancer, and just understanding from a kind of patient perspective, how does the program work? David, can I bring you in?
Yeah, sure. Well, if I do a little bit of my history first, if that would be good
Please.
for you. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in March 2015, and by September 2015 I'd actually finished my treatment and sent home to recuperate. And I did think to myself, what do I do now? Well, fortunately for me, I was contacted by Sarah and offered a place on one of the programs, and they do so many different programs. There's swimming, there's Tai Chi, there's badminton. Have we got badminton? And there's gym work, which is what I chose. I chose gym work because that's the sort of thing that I would like to have done. And after having a questionnaire to make sure that Sarah understood my existing fitness levels, then she knew how to design a program which would suit my level of fitness, which was quite poor at the time, actually. When I first went along to the gym session, I did stand outside the doors thinking, have I made a big mistake? Because I'm normally just a person that does my own thing.
Sure.
I don't belong to any groups or clubs. And I did think maybe I should go home. But I didn't. I went in, and everybody that was in there was smiling, happy to see me, pulled me into the group. Go on, you'll enjoy it today. And afterwards, we have a coffee morning, and if someone's having a birthday, we have some cakes, and we will have a chat about our lives and what's going on. Which, besides the sort of physical exercise, there's also a social side to it. And it sort of pulls you into this massive group of people who, some of them are so inspiring because they've had a lot worse to them cancer than my prostate cancer, that you can't help but be humbled and realise there is life after cancer, and if you don't do something about it, then you'll just sit there moping and become a couch potato and let life run you instead of you running your life. But for the gentleman out there, I think it's important to understand some of the symptoms of prostate cancer, because I didn't know them. But the first main one that occurred to me was getting up to go to the toilet at night 2 or 3 times during the night, disturbing everybody's sleep in the house. So they were soon getting very fed up with me. The other one is actually being caught short, having to rush to go to the toilet when I'm out somewhere, I'm driving, and having to find somewhere to go to the toilet. And eventually my wife just had enough and said, you've got to go to the doctor. And I went to the doctor, and he did his tests on me and sent me then for a blood test. And I had some other tests after that, which actually came back saying, yes, you've got prostate cancer. And again, that caused quite a bit of concern in the family. They all broke down, crying, and it's not the end. Prostate cancer is not the end. And it's, 4 years now. And the things that have happened to me in that time is I'm so much fitter than I ever was. I've lost over 2 stone by the impetus of this program. And the great thing about the team that we're with, we have qualified trainers who look at what your abilities are and adapt each training program to your ability. And it's not about being the best in that program. It's about being the best at your own capabilities. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's... Sarah spoke about all these different things that happen in your brain, but the endorphins and everything. And it does. It's like being on a legal high. After you've done an hour's training and you come down and then you have a coffee and then you even feel more up in the air. And you go down and my wife said, well, what's wrong with you? When I get home, get the garden mowed.
Sure. So that's so that was 4 years ago, and you're still maintaining with the program, or
I'm still with the program. I also go to a gym twice a week. Besides that, I've actually got my wife going to the gym. Funny, I've just been talking to Sarah before we came on air, and we actually said, looking at the ratio of people, there are more women on the exercise program than men. Now, you men out there have got to realise that there is this life after death, cancer, and just come along and put yourself forward. You won't regret it. I say I've lost over 2 stone in that 4-year period, which helps in the other side of the stroke because it reduces your blood pressure.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that you're explaining that from an angle from someone who's experienced it personally, and I think that makes it a really powerful message to any men who are listening to this and need to get in touch.
I think the first thing you've got to get over is the embarrassment of going to the doctor. I'm not a big man, but men, I've got that feeling. It's embarrassing to go to the doctor say,
yeah.
I sometimes can't hold going to the toilet or getting up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drinking.
Yeah. So there's no reason for it. Yeah. Can you just explain in relation to, obviously, when you were diagnosed, you mentioned that that was in the summertime, and then the treatment that you had and what that kind of was like?
I think for the first thing was your blood pressure test, blood pressure PSAs. So they take some of your blood and they send it off to be tested for PSA, which is prostate specific antigen. Don't ask me what that all means. It just means you've got over a certain score of something. At different ages, you have different levels which are norm. But normally after 7, if you're above 7, the higher you go, the higher the risk is of they can't do something about it because you've left it too long. And that's the danger. If you leave it too long and the cancer gets worse, it's harder to treat. And the type of operation they do becomes more difficult for you.
Right.
So, fortunately, mine was 21. So it was high. And high enough to do something about it. You then go for what you call some biopsies, where they take small samples out of your prostate and they test them for cancer. So we know now and you get some test after that through a machine, which scans your body to make sure it hasn't gone outside the prostrate, because that then makes it more difficult to treat. Because once it's gone outside that, then there is an issue to look at, which is more complicated.
Sure.
But fortunately, that was all good. It's all inside the thing. And then I went to to Mount Vernon Hospital, which then did a radiation treatment, and I had 21 days of 5 minutes of radiation.
Right.
And I also had 2 hormone injections, which was designed to reduce your testosterone levels to keep that manliness down.
Sure.
And then after that I went to see the specialist and had a blood test, and I felt like James Bond because my score came out at 007. So I was quite happy with myself, and it can fluctuate a bit, and I'm on a regular 6-monthly checkup with a consultant and a blood test.
Sure.
And that's where we are 4 years later. But I do believe if I hadn't gone on this programme, I wouldn't have done any exercise. My weight would have stepped going up because I was retired. I'm not going to work every day.
Yeah.
And I think the whole family would suffer because of it.
Yeah. So we've had one exclusive that potentially David is going to be the next James Bond after Daniel Craig has stepped down. So that's definitely exclusive.
Yeah, as long as I've got a wheelchair, I'll be all right.
I mean, you just touched on there, obviously the benefits to you physically and socially in terms of, that social element. But could you just touch on emotionally how that's kind of impacted on you as well?
Yeah, I think you go through that emotions at the beginning when you first hear that word cancer, and I think everybody doesn't matter which cancer you have, everybody feels this is the end. And you get this thing of, what am I going to do? Because all the children and your wife are now thinking, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And it's easy to fall into a despair.
Sure.
And you can't allow that to happen because they have to continue, even if it was really, really serious that you were given 6 months to live. You've still got to think of the people that are still going to be left behind. So you have to put on a positive attitude. And the exercise, believe it or not, does help because you're doing something to stop it deteriorating. You're doing something to improve your health. And I think it gives the other people, when they see you being strong, they become stronger. And they can see that you're not lying down and accepting it. And I think that's where, for me, that seeing other people, and I could go home and say, so and so, you wouldn't believe this. For example, one of the people that was in the gym with me had a colostomy bag. So he had a bag outside of him on his waist, collecting his urine. And he was doing the exercise.
Amazing.
And that's the sort of person I go, why am I moaning? I've got to get on with it.
Yeah.
Stop being,
Inspiring stuff, absolutely. Yeah. Kishore, you just want to come in?
Yeah, I want to say about the signs. मैं अपने लोगों को बताना चाहता हूँ ये स्ट्रोक के जो साइन है ना उन पर पूरा ध्यान दो. थोड़ा सा भी फेस और आर्म में हैवीनेस आए तो ये मत सोचो कि मैं ठीक हो जाऊँगा. क्योंकि जब हॉस्पिटल में जाते हो वो स्पेशल यूनिट में जाते हैं और वो उसी टाइम से उसका ट्रीटमेंट शुरू कर देते हैं. जितनी जल्दी ट्रीटमेंट शुरू हो जाए उतनी जल्दी उतना ज़्यादा बिल्कुल ठीक हो सकते हो काफ़ी हद तक. एक लेडी की एग्जांपल है, वो स्कूल में काम करती थी, 11 बजे स्कूल को गई तो उसकी सुपरवाइजर बोली तेरे को क्या हो गया, ऐसे लगता जैसे तेरे को स्ट्रोक हो गया. कहती जब घर पे जाना तो डॉक्टर को फ़ोन करना. ओके, जब वो घर पे आई तो उसने सोचा कि पता नहीं क्या होने वाला है, तो वो बोलता मैं हॉस्पिटल में जाऊंगी. वो खाना बनाने लगी बच्चों के लिए, तो खाना भी बना के रख दिया. फिर उसकी जो नीस आई 4 बजे काम से, तो उसने बोला आंटी ये आपको क्या हो गया, चल मैं तेरे को हॉस्पिटल में लेकर जाती, वो उसको वॉक इन सेंटर में ले गई। तो तब जाकर उसने डॉक्टर ने उसको सीधा बोला, शी वॉज ए स्ट्रॉन्ग लेडी, मगर क्या हुआ कि उसका ट्रीटमेंट हो गया तो बड़ी जल्दी वो काफ़ी रिकवर हो गई थी, 1 महीने में वो बैक टू वर्क जाने वाली थी। सो मैं सब एशियन लोगों से अपील करता हूँ कि जो स्ट्रोक के साइन हैं उन पर पूरा ध्यान दो। जल्द ये मत सोचो कि तुम ठीक हो जाओगे कुछ गोली खाने से, या नहीं, अगर साइन है तो जल्दी से 999 खोलो और स्ट्रोक के साइन बताओ तो एम्बुलेंस आपको ले जाएगी। That's it.
Thank you very much for joining us. And can I just bring the guys in here, Natalie, Sarah, just in relation to, obviously we've been focusing on a particular type of cancer, but from your experience, are there any kind of types of cancer that particularly are supported by exercise and the work that you do, or is it pretty much every type?
We support every type of cancer. Predominantly, we get a lot of ladies that have breast cancer, or have had breast cancer. The other main sort of types are colon, bowel, prostate, head and neck. They're the main sort of people that we see, but it is open to all types of different cancers. Research shows that exercise is associated with a 30 to 50% reduction in colon and breast cancer recurrence. Right. So it's really, really important to stay as active as you can. Even after diagnosis.
30%.
30 to 50%.
30 to 50%. Wow, that really is quite a statistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And can I ask each of you individually, in terms of given your experience, starting with you, David, what advice would you give to someone who might be living with cancer?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is to anyone who thinks they have the symptoms, to start with, is go to the doctors as soon as possible. Don't be embarrassed, because they see this every day, and you're just another person coming through the door. Secondly, if you are diagnosed with cancer, doesn't matter which cancer it is, sign up to a program, because you can do this exercise program. They've now started that more preactive before you have an operation or radiation. And the NHS statistics show that the fitter you are before an operation, the quicker you'll recover. And I think for me, I would say that life sometimes knocks you back on your back. But it's up to you to choose whether you get up again. And I'm suggesting to you to get up and take one step of your journey and sign up with Macmillan Luton Active and start getting yourself fit. You owe it to your partner, you owe it to your children, but most of all, you owe it to yourself. And lastly from me, I think, unless you have another question, is it's not about the years in your life, it's about the life in your years.
Well said. I think that's truly been inspiring. I mean, we've had lots of guests on. We've been running this program now for about 3.5 years, and I think some of the things you've said have really been heartwarming in relation to that positive message around what can be done, and some of the fantastic support that you've received through the Active Luton Macmillan service as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it without them. I would have still been at my home walking up and down because I retired before my wife, and once I'd taken the dog for a walk, he didn't want to know me.
You couldn't have done it without them, and thankfully you didn't need to, because they were there, and
they came to me. I didn't know anything about it. So I was one of the lucky ones that
absolutely
got straight there.
Absolutely. Sarah, can you just touch on a little bit more around, I think you've opened up the criteria around dementia as well. Can you just touch on that and what else is happening around total wellbeing? We just have a few minutes left.
Yeah, so we've only recently opened up our criteria to dementia. So we are offering one-to-one support for anyone that's been affected by dementia and Alzheimer's, for the person and the carer to come in and join us, even if it's just for some a coffee, just to get you out of the house, or to just get some exercise at any of our active Luton centres. We offer one-to-one support, or we also do small group training as well, specifically for people that have been affected by dementia.
Cool. What do you mean by training, sorry?
So we do chair-based fitness, we do Pilates, yoga. It's been proved, research has shown that people with dementia really like racket sports. So we do badminton and things like that as well. So we kind of tailor it to the person.
Yeah, fantastic. And Natalie, for yourself, in terms of what other services might be available that you've been working on?
So one that we have got recently brought in is a chronic pain management one. And that's for people with osteoarthritis, basically any of the arthritis family. And it's basically what we try to aim to do is to give them more of an educated side of their conditions. They can have more of an understanding of their condition, how they can make things more manageable for themselves through exercise. Which is going really well at the moment.
Fantastic. So we literally only have a few seconds left, so that just gives me an opportunity to thank our guests for giving up their evening and joining us live on Inspire FM today. We will be having a show next week which will be live again, and it will be focusing on body image. So we'll be having a range of different guests talking about body image and mental health, and I'll just pass over finally to Sarah.
Just really quickly, it is Mental Health Awareness Week next week. We will be at the Luton Shopping Mall on the 15th. So please come and say hi to us. If you're suffering from any sort of emotional health, don't struggle alone. Come and speak to us, and there'll be lots of different services there for you to get some support.
Fantastic. So that's at the Mall next week?
Yeah, that is.
Fantastic. Great. So you can join the guys there. Thank you very much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.